Whether you have one child, two children, three, or even seven, every child is unique. Every individual has their own particular constellation of strengths and weaknesses. What do I mean by that? Well, if you think about a constellation in the beautiful night sky, the bright stars really outline the constellation, and they're noticeable and visible. Your child's areas of strength are his or her bright stars. If they're great at athletics or really enjoy cooking, or they are great with learning vocabulary, those are the bright stars, the noticeable areas in their constellation. However, the areas of weakness, or the things that your child struggles with, such as remembering the names of people, or doing their math facts correctly and quickly, or spelling, or reading accurately and quickly, or being coordinated on the basketball court. Any of these areas would be small stars, or stars that you cannot see as well in their constellation. They are still a part of who they are, but they're not areas of real strength. And these areas of weakness need to be identified and strengthened. There's a third type of star in your child's constellation of strengths and weaknesses, and those are the medium stars. The medium stars represent the areas that are neither too easy nor too difficult for your child. They're just the middle ground areas. These areas do not tend to frustrate your child overly, but they're not necessarily their number one favorite thing to do either. As you step back and think about your child's constellation of strengths and weaknesses, it allows you to plan and provide supports to help your child develop the areas of weakness while also cultivating those areas of strength. As you think about your child's constellation of strengths and weaknesses and what makes your child who he or she really is, I invite you to consider something that we've developed at Apples of Gold called the Edu-Nurture Quadrant. As you think about each of these 4 areas, you'll have a better understanding of who your child is and what areas you need to address or focus on. The first area of the Edu-Nurture Quadrant is your child's psychological profile. This involves things like self-confidence, self-concept, self-esteem, personal agency, resourcefulness, motivation, effort, anxiety, depression. Any of these areas that involve their emotions or their psychological view of themselves make up more of the psychological profile. If your child struggles with one or more of these in a significant fashion, it will impact their ability to learn and engage with life fully. The second area of your child's Edu-Nurture Quadrant that I invite you to consider is his or her cognitive abilities profile. Areas such as verbal intelligence, nonverbal intelligence, visual spatial reasoning, oral language development, processing speed, memory function, the ability to learn something and hold on to it for a long time, as in long-term retrieval. Also rapid naming, word retrieval, phonological processing, orthographic processing, and the list goes on. These are the areas that are beneath the surface that make learning and school success either easy or more difficult. For a child truly to make the gains they should make, an intervention plan should target and properly address areas beneath the surface in the cognitive abilities section of the child's Edu-Nurture Quadrant. The third aspect of the Edu-Nurture Quadrant I encourage you to consider is your child's executive function abilities. Executive function is more or less your child's ability to self-regulate and plan and organize and stay focused and be successful with learning and life activities. Executive function includes working memory, inhibition control, self-regulation, the ability to plan and organize and stay on task. If one's executive function abilities are underdeveloped, engaging in learning opportunities and responding to life opportunities will be more challenging and far more frustrating. Some children need help developing their executive function skills and abilities. The fourth and final area on the Edu-Nurture Quadrant is your child's academic skills. It's often difficulty in academic skills that is first noticed by parents and teachers. Maybe your child is struggling with reading or spelling or written expression or math facts or solving word problems or taking tests. These academic skills within the Edu-Nurture quadrant can cause a child a lot of frustration in the classroom and even outside of school. Even though we often see outward trouble with academic skills first, it's often caused by weaknesses within the cognitive abilities area. If your child, for instance, struggles with phonological processing and rapid naming, he or she may have trouble learning to read and spell. If your child struggles with executive function, working memory, attention to task, self-regulation, they will have more trouble with academic skill development and engaging in the school environment. And of course, when they begin to struggle and become frustrated, it spills over into psychological duress. All aspects of the Edu-Nurture quadrant are part of who your child is. And as you think about each of the 4 areas, you can identify where your child is excelling and where your child is doing just fine and where your child is really struggling and stumbling and where you need to put your focused attention. I encourage you to proactively identify, cultivate, and celebrate your child's areas of interest and strengths, whether they're interested in painting or learning about dinosaurs or snowboarding, whatever it is. As you cultivate and celebrate those areas, you will help them gain courage and momentum for success in other areas. As you consider your child's constellation of strengths and weaknesses, always remember that learning starts with the heart. Make every effort to connect with your child's heart, because as you reach your child's heart, you will help them engage their mind, and this, in turn, will change their brain for lifelong learning and success.